fertility-focused intimacy. What does that really mean? Some people might call this the adult sex talks, but I assure you it's G, maybe PG rated. What we really mean when we say FFI, in other words, when we say to someone who is Creighton charting, now use your Creighton chart to help you become pregnant. If you've noticed in the classes and all of the work that you've done with your fertility care practitioners, the language and everything is set up for the couple that is trying not to become pregnant. And I think too often everyone assumes that you know what to do when you want to turn those rules upside down and become pregnant. Well, I don't think that's necessarily the case. So I want to go through the principles with you tonight of how to use your Creighton chart to achieve the pregnancy that you desire. Let's start with a discussion of what peak day is and is not. And let me back up even a little further and say that I'm going to describe this assuming that you've watched the menstrual cycle video and you understand the basic principles of the menstrual cycle and ovulation. If you haven't, then hit pause, go watch that video, and come back. So what is peak day? Maybe more importantly, what is it not? Peak day is not ovulation day. It's not. Peak day is a marker for ovulation day. Just like a shift of a basal body temperature is a marker, just like a positive ovulation predictor kit is a marker, none of those things are themselves ovulation. Instead, they're markers for ovulation. So peak day is another marker. However, it turns out to be the best marker there is for ovulation. And what we know from the great work that's been done over many decades at the Institute in Omaha, the Pope Paul VI Institute in Omaha, is that 99% of ovulations that occur within a 2-day window on either side of peak day. So the couple that can identify peak day can identify the middle of a 5-day probability window for ovulation. And it turns out you can't get a more narrow prediction than that. The only way to come closer to actually documenting ovulation would be if we were doing an ultrasound and we just happened to be so fortunate that we saw the follicle rupture and ovulate. That's not very likely to happen. So the Creighton-based peak day and the 5-day window that it identifies is our best opportunity. So in the perfect world, for the couple that wanted to achieve pregnancy, we would see 5 eyes, 1 eye on each of those 5 days. That is to say, the couple would be intimate once a day, every day, for those 5 days. Now I know that you have heard every day, every other day, twice a day, and all kinds of recommendations for intimacy for the couple trying to achieve pregnancy. But we say once a day, every day, in that 5-day window. Now, in all honesty, I rarely see couples that have 5 of 5 eyes. It just doesn't usually happen. Life and fatigue and work and a whole host of other problems get in the way, and most couples are not intimate every day of that 5-day window. But you're playing somewhat of a statistical game. So 2 is better than 1, 3 is better than 2, 5 is better than 4. You want to do your best to get as many eyes in that 5-day window as possible. Also keep in mind that you don't identify peak day, of course, until after it's passed. So if a couple were to wait until they identified peak day, which is actually peak day plus 1, they would have accidentally missed the first 2 days, maybe the first 3 days of that 5-day window. So you have to do a little of what I call pre-peak guessing. So based on your other charts, your other lines and cycles, and when you tend to have peak day, you have to guess a little bit and begin with daily or perhaps every other day intimacy so as to be sure to pick up those first 2 pre-peak days in that 5-day window. So again, ideally, a couple would have 5 of 5 eyes in those days. That's the ideal. It doesn't always happen, but as many as you can is what you're looking for. We would expect, assuming all things are normal, for the couples that are coming together in this 5-day window, roughly 80–85% of them will achieve pregnancy in 3 to 4 cycles. So that's what we mean when we say FFI, or fertility-focused intimacy. Now, at the risk of sounding like I'm contradicting myself, I give this little speech about fertility-focused intimacy and the best of 5, or the once a day for 5 days. And then I turn around and warn couples, be careful. Don't let this Creighton chart and my explanation of this 5-day probability window become an obstacle in your relationship. The church teaches very rightly that intimacy in marriage is for both babies and bonding. We don't want to neglect one because of the other. So there are going to be months when couples simply, maybe they're not intimate any in that 5-day window. I think you need to give yourself permission to just walk away some cycles and not put that pressure on you. I get calls all of the time from husbands and wives alike who say peak day and trying to be intimate around peak day is destroying their relationship. I'm afraid I don't know how to prevent that from happening other than to simply call it out for what it is and try not to let it happen. Talk to each other, be open about it, but recognize all of this emphasis on those 5 days can be rather detrimental if you let it. So don't let it. The devil is real. If he sees that crack, he'll jump in it. So don't let him have that opportunity. At the same time, you're on a bit of a mission. You're trying to achieve pregnancy. So somehow a couple has to find that balance between obsessing a bit over the Creighton chart and remaining spontaneous in their intimate lives. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, contact me at the office, or contact me on Facebook. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.